If you've ever wondered what it'd be like to manage a thieves guild, growing it from the ground up, then pay close attention to today's video. Killers and Thieves is all about just that. Killing people for money and stealing their things, also for money. Developed by Alex Thomas, the former creative director at Stoic, which was responsible for the Banner Saga, Killers and Thieves puts you into the boots of a thieves guild manager. You recruit new members, train them, send them on missions, and even go on heists. It's half management sim and half stealth strategy, giving the game a unique kind of gameplay. For the management side of things, you recruit new thieves, assign them to jobs around the city, and even set them up to do some training. You can have them perform stakeouts anywhere on the map, essentially scouting the area to determine what kind of goodies you can find. You not only need to be mindful of a thieves' health, but also their morale. If the morale gets too low, they can leave or even betray you. It's as important to give them the time to relax as it is to make sure they're paid. And speaking of pay, you can't just run out and get all the fancy things and recruits that you want. Everything in Killers and Thieves has an upkeep, an amount of money that you need to regularly pay in order to keep the thing around. Whether that's a recruit or a store that sells your pilfered possessions, you need to pay them weekly. To that end, everything you do in-game takes time. Stakeouts take a couple days to yield results, every mission takes a day or more, and training takes at least 3 days. You need to be mindful of the amount of coin in your pocket and how many days you have before your next weekly payment before you decide what you're gonna send your thieves to do. It's not a wholly unfamiliar system, especially if you've played other management games before, but the way it's presented here as being the head of a group of criminals makes it more approachable, at least in my mind, for gamers. It's more likely to get people who aren't normally interested in this kind of game to give it a look. It's important to note that not all the missions that you send thieves on are heists. Some you just assign thieves to, getting the chance of success as high as you want it, and then you cross your fingers. All missions get you bits of story, which is actually pretty well written with interesting characters, but the heists are definitely where the fun's at when it comes to engaging in this game. Heist missions put you in direct control of up to 4 thieves, each with their own abilities that you can train up or expand back at headquarters. Use the mouse for heists, pointing and clicking where you want the ne'er-do-wells to go and what you want them to do. The mechanics are pretty simple. If someone sees you, then your anonymity is lowered. If it reaches 0, people are gonna scream for help and guards are gonna attack you on sight or even capture the thief. Hiding slows how fast you lose anonymity, but it doesn't stop it completely. Some units can fight guards, their chances in combat affected by their stats. Fights block movement through an area and units can be flanked, putting them at a pretty big disadvantage. I feel like the huge amount of work that gets put into the animation and art in this game really shines in the fights. You can see some really great traditional animation techniques being used, like smears or pauses for emphasis, and it gives combat this kind of life that other parts of the game just don't really have. Now, if a thief runs out of health and they're not story critical, they'll die. Thieves without the knife fighting ability, or story critical thieves that get knocked down to 0 health, are put in jail for a few days. Each district has a different approach to crime, so some sentences are going to be longer than others. The thief also loses all the loot they had if they get captured or die, so it's important to either be careful with your money bags or to spread the wealth evenly between your units. Because of how this game works, there's a huge focus on stealth and non-combat approaches, but it's still possible to go in all stabby and take out everyone you see as long as your thieves are trained for that. It won't be without consequence though, and I think that's a really good touch. Fighting and death raise the level of chaos in a district a lot faster than just stealing, so there are going to be a lot more guards a lot faster than if you'd played it quiet. As a little aside here, just before I wrap up, I think there's something to be said about management games. Considering that time management and budgeting are a couple of the most important skills a person's gonna learn and use way too often in their lifetime, games like this could potentially be a great way to teach that, at least on a conceptual level. I find the whole thing fascinating. Considering how edutainment games are becoming more and more common, it just makes sense to me that a game like this could be used to practice those important skills, at least to some extent. You can pick Killers and Thieves up on Steam for about 20 bucks. If you're looking for some strategery mixed with stealthy goodness, this is definitely one to snag as soon as you can. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Indie Bytes. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please remember to leave a like and subscribe for more stuff like this. Be sure to check out the other content that we put out on this channel, and remember to drop me a line here on Twitter or through email with any game recommendations that you've got. You can find all that stuff down in the description below. I'll see you next time. Bye!